There's a lot to celebrate on North Broad. 2,000 wins, undefeated at home, and overtime thrillers.
I'm Jay Matthews II at the studio set along with Danny Podolsky. There's a coach running into his second decade in charge of Temple's track along with cross country. We'll take a look.
Plus, a women's doubles pair in tennis has capitalized on the decision to stay on North Broad. OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to a new edition of OwlSports Update with a new anchor duo. I'm Sam Covone.
And I'm Sarah Winton. First up, we're starting with basketball. Both teams are coming off of a win. Let's get to the men first and perfection at home.
The men's basketball team has been hot at the Liacouras Center all season long. We are heading towards mid-February and the Owls are still perfect. The team is currently 10-0. This is the best home record dating back to the 2010-2011 season. That year, the Owls finished the season at 14-0 under Fran Dunphy. This team made the NCAA tournament and lost in the second round.
So how did we get here? This past Saturday, Temple hosted ECU on a very busy day at the Liacouras Center. Not only was the home win streak on the line, but the Owls also spent part of the game celebrating 2,000 wins. The Owls looking to even up the series with ECU after their 1-point loss to the Pirates at their place a month ago. Pick things up towards the end of the first half. Owls down by 9. Quante Berry drives it in right under the net for a layup. Berry ended the day with 21 points, his second 20-plus performance in his last 3 games. Then Pirates CJ Walker misses the lay, but former Owl Jordan Riley is there for the rebound and tips it in. The second half, and ECU is up by 8. Jamal Mashburn finds Steve Settle for a 3-point jumper. The Owls will eventually tie it up, and we're heading into overtime. The Owls offense wastes no time taking the lead with great ball movement that leads to a Mashburn 3. Temple boosts its lead to 5. Pirates have possession and are down by 5. RJ Felton is on the attack. He makes the bucket and the foul. It's a one-possession game. Then with less than 30 seconds to go, the Owls have a chance to tie the game with the game at the line. Temple gets the close win in another overtime game, 98-94.
You know, it's those guys in the locker room, right? I think they do a great job of spacing. I thought we were stagnant in the first half. When we move and we pass and cut and get through and break down the zone a little bit more, we've been getting good looks. And you got to knock down shots. Great credit to these guys. They knocked down some big-time shots.
I mean, we were just taking what the defense was giving us. They were doing a lot of switching. They tried to, mess us up with that zone that's worked for them in previous games. And then we were just taking what the defense was giving us and trusting our work.
The Owls are traveling to Florida for their next matchup against the South Florida Bulls. The Bulls are coming off a loss to another parliament of Owls in Florida Atlantic. Temple is looking to get back in the win column on the road. The Owls' last road win was on January 11th against Rice. Game time is 7 p.m. It will be streamed on ESPN+.
Let's stick with the basketball talk and this road trip. Courts in Session anchor Pat Dallahan is at the studio set to discuss a key player at the top of the scoring list, not only in conference, but also nationally. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Sarah. The men's team has a crucial stretch of road games lying ahead against South Florida and Memphis. The Owls are not a good road team, just 4-8 away from the Liacouras Center. But it's no secret that Temple will lean on the number 2 scorer in the nation, Jamal Mashburn Jr., to continue his scoring ways. On the first edition of Dallahan's Deets, I'm taking a look at Temple's high-scoring guard. When Mash arrived at Temple, there were lots of concerns surrounding his efficiency. This season, the New Mexico transfer has silenced those concerns, shooting a career-high 43.6% from the field. But the real scoring growth comes from beyond the arc, where he's hitting 44% of his 3 balls. But you can't talk about Jamal Mashburn's scoring abilities without talking about the usage of the mid-range, where 34% of his field goal attempts come from. Not many guards get to their spots better than him. If the Owls want to make a run in conference play, they need Mash to keep scoring. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Pat Dallahan. Back to you guys on the desk.
The Owls returned home Wednesday for a midday matchup against Memphis. TR East goes into the paint and floats one in to give Temple the 18-7 lead. Terriana Gary with a jumper. Then, with the last shot in the second quarter, East off a fast break with a layup to give Temple the 14-point lead going into half. The Owls have struggled to hold on to leads in the second half, and here comes Memphis. Alasia Smith steals the ball and takes it in for a layup. Kayla Turner with the jump shot in the paint. Temple had 44 points in the paint. Thanks to a steal by Delisa Molina, Anissa Rivera takes advantage off the fast break and gives Temple a 10-point lead. Less than 2 minutes left. The Owls never gave up its lead. Kayla Turner's good free throws secure Temple the 74-66 victory over the Tigers, snapping their 3-game slide.
I mean, it was a tough game, and Memphis came to play. You know, we got ahead early and had to fight a little bit in the end of the game, third quarter, and try to maintain that lead. But we came out with the win. They didn't put their heads down. We kept playing.
As mentioned, this was a much-needed win for the Owls, and it was a nice time to be back home. The win comes after a rough road trip to Texas. In a challenging week, the team lost back-to-back games versus North Texas and then UTSA. They lost a close game to the Mean Green 70-67. The Owls started strong with leading by as much as 17 points in the first half, with Anissa Rivera contributing 16 points. However, a late surge by North Texas, including a 10-1 run in the final minutes, was too much for the Owls to overcome. On to the next team, Temple was handed its second loss of the trip to UTSA, 70-61. Despite holding a lead at halftime and an 11-point advantage early in the fourth quarter, the Owls just couldn't maintain their momentum. UTSA mounted a significant comeback and outscored Temple 27-10 in the final quarter to grab the win.
Women's basketball is one of 11 female teams at Temple. This past weekend, the athletic department and the Temple Owl Club teamed up to host the second annual Diamond Dreams event. This year's event focused on investing in women's sports at Temple, and the response to this initiative has been strong. Pressure makes diamonds, and for the female athletes at Temple University, the pressure is always on. The second annual Diamond Dreams event took place on Saturday on main campus. This event is dedicated to bringing together generations of Temple athletes in order to elevate women's athletics on campus.
But the ability to bring people together towards this common cause, especially for women athletics, it's me giving back, but it's also looking at the future generations.
One primary goal is to increase attendance at games and events. This will lead to an increase in fundraising. Although fundraising is always needed, attendance is crucial in order to make that happen. This year's event was attended by double the amount from last year. The event included a panel with current and former athletes, coaches, and season ticket holders. In the spirit of increasing attendance, the event continued at McGonigal Hall, where attendees were encouraged to cheer on the gymnastics team.
We want the girls to have better things than what we had. But the athleticism that these girls have now is amazing. They're way better athletes than we ever were.
As Diamond Dreams continues to grow, so do the hopes of a brighter future for current female athletes at Temple. And there is the hope that the support generated by this event will create a lasting impact for younger girls who picture themselves as the future of collegiate athletics. Moving forward board committee members are looking to add smaller events throughout the year called touch points. These will consist of happy hours, alumni days, and campaign days in order to bring more engagement and fundraising to women's athletics. We're up against our first break of the show, but don't go anywhere. Temple's football season may be over, but one player is looking to make it to the big leagues.
Also, one head coach for the Owls is taking on more than one team on Broad. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back. Former Temple kicker Maddox Trujillo is preparing for the biggest opportunity of his life. Over the next few months, he will spend most of his time trying to convince NFL teams that he's ready to kick on Sundays after setting records on Saturdays. Trujillo holds the record for the longest kick in Lincoln Financial Field history. In the Owls game against Utah State, Trujillo kicked it from 64 yards. He became only the third player in NCAA history to record two 60-plus yard field goals in the same season. He hopes his resume helps him at many different NFL draft events, including the Combine later this month.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm for sure not going to let it slip through my fingers. So I'm taking every day, day by day, and going out there and just one step at a time, trying to do as best as I can at every single moment leading up to it, and I know my preparation won't fail me. So I'm just keep my head down and working, I'll tell you that.
The biggest of these pre-draft events, as mentioned, is the Combine. It starts on February 27th in Indianapolis. Trujillo will compete in the Specialist Showcase.
While football is transitioning out, track and field is transitioning in. There's a head coach at Temple who does something no other coach here currently does. OwlSports Updates' Jay Matthews is live in the studio to fill us in. Hey, Jay.
Sarah, Elvis Ford is not slowing down one bit, even though he's one of the most tender coaches at Temple. And unlike any other coach at Temple, Ford is pulling triple duty throughout the school year. Elvis Ford does something at Temple no other coach can brag about. He's in charge of 3 different teams.
I still have that passion to want to succeed as a coach and drive. And I think the beautiful thing about that is that Temple, the diversity of Temple is what makes me feel at home here.
The diversity isn't just focused on the types of students on his team, but also the types of athletes. Ford is in charge of men's and women's cross country, in addition to women's indoor and outdoor track. Ford took over these programs in 2014, just a few months after Temple cut men's track as a varsity program. It is his job to add some stability during a time of great change. Not only is Coach Ford the 4th longest tenured head coach here at Temple, but he's also a culture builder who provides guidance and also a winning program at Temple University.
Wants to see us be successful on the track and at practice, but also in the classroom, and also helps develop us as individuals and young women and not just as track athletes.
Cares about how we are motivating each other and uplifting each other as a team.
It's a year-long job for Ford that will take him and the Owls to Boston to compete in the showdown at the Heights. Reporting live from the Stars Complex, I'm Jay Matthews II. Ford and his Owls are busy in February. They're in Boston this weekend, back in the Philly area with a meet in Chester during the weekend of the 14th. And finally, the Owls will end the month at the AAC Indoor Championships in Alabama. That's all for track and field. I'm Jay Matthews II at the studio set. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Jay. We're up against our last break of the show.
When we come back, it is all things tennis with the doubles team that knows each other very well. Don't go anywhere. OwlSports Update will be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back. Temple women's tennis has begun its spring season, even though for now it's indoors. The Owls are doing so behind a revamped roster. The team had 5 players graduate last May and 3 others that transferred at the end of last year. However, the 2 women who chose to stay have made a big impact for the team while working together. A major theme for the Temple women's tennis team this season is change. Between 6 new players, new coaches, and even a new tennis facility, the team looks far different from a year ago. But as much as some things have changed, one thing has remained the same. Tamara Kawaratani and Marianthi Christoforidou are back as doubles partners, and this year, they're the top duo on the team.
Temple is a great school. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the educational side of it, but especially I like the athletic side of it. Is we're well taken care of.
Well, for me, I was really happy that Tamara stayed here. We're teammates, which is really good, and then we're also staying together. It's kind of like makes our relationship like a bit stronger.
On a team that has 8 players, including 5 freshmen, Tamara and Marianthi have turned into leaders for this team by choosing to stay. They have been promoted to the #1 doubles pair this season. The pair went 11-8 last year from a 3rd doubles spot, and in 2025, their season is still very young.
Luckily, we stay together. We do have like a kind of a click when we play doubles, and now that we also know each other much better, like emotionally and mentally, it's helped us on the court.
The team's next home match will come on February 21st against Norfolk State. The season runs through the 3rd week of April, with the conference championships starting on April 17th. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Danny Podolsky. Sam and Sarah, back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Danny. That's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Have a great weekend and go Birds.